Oh boy, that was a game and a half. A tale of maybe 2-3 different hockey games all intertwined into 65 plus minutes of action over here. The Philadelphia Flyers have just kicked off their home opener, and it is a shootout loss to the Vancouver Canucks. This one was all over the place in terms of who controlled the game. I think it's on the Sportsnet, or is it the NHL app, one of the two, where you can look at the flowcharts based off of who controlled the play more in a hockey game. If you look at this one, it is all over the place. Philly controlling at some parts, Vancouver taking over in others. This was a crazy hockey game, and man, is it made even sweeter by the Vancouver Canucks shootout win. Exercising their demons over here, 2 shootout games in the NHL season thus far, both of them involving Vancouver. Let's talk about where we got here, starting out with the lineups. Now, for the Vancouver Canucks, things were not really all too different. Everything remained the same pretty much from the Edmonton game, except we had a difference of lineup deployment. Alex Chiasson, whose name was unfortunately spelled incorrectly on the jersey they gave him tonight, was not playing with Pettersson and Miller. Instead, they had Vasili Podkolzin up there. So Chiasson was then playing with the fourth-line guys. It was Justin Dowling as well as Lamico. So a little bit of a change, but we'll get to some of the players that were involved in that as the game goes on. This first period by Vancouver sucked. It was terrible. Philadelphia came out with a bang. They're playing like a team that is just out there in their home opener. The fans are going wild. The city is going wild. The crazy, crazy atmosphere is feeding into the Flyers and the way they're able to control the play. The passing in the offensive zone. Man, the Flyers just had control of this one. Vancouver couldn't touch the puck. The only player who was good on Vancouver in the first period was pretty much Thatcher Demko, because he made a few really just brick wall kind of saves over there, absolutely stoned a few cross creases and one-on-one individual opportunities. He honestly saved like 3 or 4 high danger scoring opportunities from the Philadelphia Flyers. It's only fitting that the only goal the Flyers score in this entire first period, where they controlled the play so well, was a weird bounce kind of goal where Thatcher Demko makes the kick save, but the puck then goes in off of Tucker Poolman and into the open cage. It's so unfortunate to see how that goes down. Thatcher Demko did not deserve that in the slightest. The defensive coverage for the Canucks was not great in the first period, and it really showed in the shot column, but this game was a tale of several games, not just one game like that, as we head over into the second period. Now, this is where things kind of got better. I don't want to say it's because the Vancouver Canucks just, I don't know, they flipped the switch and all of a sudden, boom, we're good now. It's a combination of a few things. The Philadelphia Flyers had a lot of problems last season when it came to consistency and playing full 60-minute games. Now, the Flyers played a great 20 minutes in the first period, but it was a combination in the second of Vancouver just deciding, okay, we need to actually start doing stuff. And Philadelphia kind of laying back a little bit as well, not to mention Carter Hart, who got the start here tonight. This was a lot better of a second period for Vancouver than the first one was. You started to see a lot more mojo with the puck. You started to see a lot more creativity and a lot more of a pizzazz, I guess you could say. Just an energy that the Canucks had whenever they held onto it that said, yeah, we're going to go into the zone, we're going to pass it around, and we're going to get a scoring chance. Eventually, give it 2 minutes into the second period, and Oliver Ekman-Larsson has it in his own zone. He sends a wing-to-wing pass to Tyler Myers, who picks it up and just turns on the Jets. He cuts right through the neutral zone, right over the Philadelphia Flyers logo at center ice, over into the offensive blue line, and then he throws it over to the right. He finds Vasili Podkolzin, who walks and he streaks and he shoots and he scores his very first NHL goal. It looked so similar to Elias Pettersson and his first NHL goal. Remember that? Back in, 2018, 2019? Yeah, coming down the right side, teeing it up on the hash marks, and just gripping and ripping it short side over the glove. Vasili Podkolzin, who, granted, he didn't play the entire game on the Pettersson-Miller line. He got shuffled around with Höglander afterwards. He scores his very first NHL goal, and it is an absolute beauty. No doubts about that one. It is a tie game, 1-1. And you could see the energy on this guy. He absolutely exploded with emotion after the goal was scored. And, I mean, he deserved it. Ekman-Larsson getting the assist as well. Tyler Myers, of course, with the setup there. Give it a few more minutes, though, and we start to see what is a little bit more of this Philadelphia kind of lackadaisical attitude starting to come out into the play. Eventually, the Canucks on the power play find Elias Pettersson, who is at that same spot where Podkolzin scored his goal. He shoots it, and it goes off of a flyer and wide. But then it bounces off the boards and ricochets off the back of Carter Hart, and it goes in. Oh my goodness, what a goal. What a dumb goal that was. Elias Pettersson scores the worst goal he has ever scored. It is 2-1 Vancouver as his goal literally hits the end boards, and it comes back out in front to go off of Carter Hart's, leg. So, Carter Hart, man, you cannot be leaving the post like that. You cannot be cheating. You cannot be going down on the butterfly when the puck is behind the goal in that way, and you're expecting a ricochet to come back. Super unfortunate bounce there for the Flyers, but the Vancouver Canucks, hey, guess what? That's JT Miller's first assist of the game. Elias Pettersson finally has his first goal of the season, too. So, good on him, and it is also assisted by Alex Chiasson. Speaking of that Alex Chiasson, give it 5 minutes, and the Canucks on the power play again give Chiasson his first of the year. Hughes goes over to Miller, who sends it down in front for Chiasson, who whacks away at it. Eventually, I believe it was Travis Sanheim or somebody on the Flyers that tries to clear the front of the crease, but they kind of hit the puck off of Chiasson's leg, and it goes in past Carter Hart as well. It's one of those things where it's like, okay, Carter Hart, you kind of just gave up on the play immediately after the first opportunity. The follow-up wasn't really there. The Vancouver Canucks go up 3-1 off of 2 just terrible bounce goals. It doesn't feel good as a Canucks fan, but it is what it is. It is indeed the case. They're leading the game, and I couldn't really ask for anything more. Give it 3 minutes, though, and the Philadelphia Flyers get back on the board. Cam Atkinson, ooh, man, what a nasty setup there by Keith Yandle and Joel Farabee, working things down low and sending it out in front. Atkinson brings the Flyers within 1 with 8 minutes remaining, and then the Vancouver Canucks end off the second period with a terrible goal again. It's Elias Pettersson who comes in. He tries the Patrick Kane move, the Patrick Kane 2010 Stanley Cup Finals winning goal in overtime, Game 6 in Philadelphia. He tries the little move right there. Carter Hart makes the save, so unfortunately, unlike the Philadelphia goalie back then, I believe it was Michael Layton, was that what it was? Carter Hart makes the save, but guess what? He ends up losing control of where the puck is, and it's JT Miller who just walks right over to the goal, and he's like, okay, well, the puck is right there, it's loose, the whistle hasn't blown, I'm just gonna, boop, put it in the net, 4-2 Vancouver, and yeah, okay, it's a terrible amount of goals that they scored. Miller has 3 points, so good on him. Pettersson has 2 points as well. It's so different, man. The contrast of the first period to the second was so vast. And the third period was even worse for Vancouver because the Flyers came back and they tied it. It was at the end of the period, too. It was 6-on-4 because the Vancouver Canucks took a penalty. It was Oliver Ekman-Larsson. The puck kind of hit Konecny in the face, and Ekman-Larsson went off for slashing. It was kind of a weird call, but the Flyers then get the ensuing 6-on-4 because they pulled the goaltender. Some good puck movement going out in front. Tucker Poolman blocks the puck again, and it drops out in front for the aforementioned Konecny to score. And then you give it another shift, and Claude Giroux gets what is one of the most beautiful passes I've ever seen in these regular season games from Sean Couturier off the end boards over to the far side, and he pots it in by Demko. It is 4-4. The Vancouver Canucks were like Wayne Gretzky. They had it, and then they lost it. This was a team that just completely started playing to not lose in the third period. They were not playing to score any more goals. They were playing to keep the shifts short. They have a tomorrow game, so they probably didn't want to get their guys too tired, but it kind of showed off in the way they were playing, just dumping it in and going around, just going back into their own zone, dumping it again, getting another change out there. They did not really have that same killer instinct, and the Flyers took advantage of that. Eventually, you go out into overtime, and the Canucks start doing well again. They hold on to it a whole bunch. They cannot break in to Carter Hart in his crease because the Flyers' defense is just so tight up against the Canucks. Even though the Canucks had the majority of the possession in the overtime, this was a very well-played period by the Flyers. Overtime was crazy, too, because you had yourselves Carter Hart making some really good saves on Pettersson. It was a breakaway that he ended up stopping. Speaking about breakaways, Thatcher Demko also made a few outstanding saves post-first period as well. And so we go to a shootout, and this is just kind of where Vancouver takes the cake. Demko makes some very good stops on Couturier and Giroux, and Carter Hart, who had already looked pretty shaky in the rest of this game, gives up 2 honestly, not really great goals to Pettersson and Miller. Now, don't get me wrong, the goals that Petey and Millsy scored were great. I love the moves that they did. It's just, you could tell that Carter Hart was gonna be beat, if you know what I mean. He didn't look like a goaltender who was going to save those pucks. For Thatcher Demko, you stared him down, you see his disposition as Giroux and Couture approach him in the shootout, and you're like, okay, yeah, look at that guy. He's really confident. He's going to stop that. For Carter Hart, it was like, he looked super timid, and the performance that he had earlier on in the game definitely didn't help, where he let in all those weird bounces. At the end of the day, though, it is a Vancouver Canucks win, so I'm not going to say that that's a bad result for Vancouver. It's just, the way we got there was definitely not the right way to go about things. Giving up a 4-2 lead with X amount of minutes left in the third period. Definitely need to work on the 6-on-5 penalty kills as well as third period engagement. I get it, it's the first game of the back-to-back, so they don't want to go out there and tire themselves out for tomorrow's Detroit game. But still, was this game perfect? Absolutely not. Was this game a fun, entertaining spectacle to watch? I don't know if it was fun. I was kind of stressing my mind out towards the end of the game there. But either way, talk to me in the comments. What do you think about the Vancouver Canucks defeating the Flyers, their very first win of the regular season? 5-4 in a shootout is the final score. I hope you enjoyed this video. I Trolls the 99. And bye.